Okay, welcome everybody to our Tuesday night team call. And I'm so excited about tonight because this is something we've never done in the whole time I've been with Plexus, which is kind of crazy that we've gone this long and we haven't done it yet. So tonight you guys are going to meet your Plexus family tree, so to speak, right? We're all, we all come off of someone else's team. And so we all joined somebody. Someone shared with us. And that's the reason that we're here, which I think is the most important take home message of all of this. So I'll start a little bit with my story, and then I'm going to pass it off to my sponsor, and then so on and so forth, which is exciting. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brooke. I am a Sapphire ambassador, thanks to you guys because you rock, since last month. And I joined Plexus on April 19th. And I'll put a teaser out there on the team page, but look for a big special coming on April 19th for my team, for you guys, because it'll be my 3-year anniversary. And so I joined Plexus on April 19th of 2015. And that was after seeing just one post. I'm not the abnormal Plexus person who bites on one post of my friend Erin Kane. And I've told people this story before, but Erin is very steadfast in her beliefs. She does not waver. When Erin believes in something, you know it's tried and true. And I had done life with Erin. We had trained together. We'd done, stuff with our kids and our families, and we knew each other well. And so when I saw Erin post about anxiety and energy, I knew it was legit. And I literally went to my car in between patients, my van, and it was hot. I remember that day, which I guess it's getting a little bit warmer. And I called her and she said, hello. And I didn't say, hey, Erin. I said, Erin, what is this Plexus crap? That's exactly what I said to her. I wish you could make this stuff up or it wasn't true, but that is exactly what I said to her. And poor Erin was like, because I was being me. And I was asking her all these questions like, does it work? Does it have this in it? Is it healthy? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, poor Erin. I've never had anyone treat me the way I treated Erin. So I apologize. And you will never have anyone treat you that way, I promise. And I said, okay, what's in this stuff? And then I told her, will it help me? And she said, at that moment, it kind of stopped her in her tracks because she didn't think I needed help with anxiety. She didn't think I needed help with energy because I put on this outward appearance that everything was okay. So I'm here to tell you that you never prejudge. You don't know who needs Plexus. Erin said she was probably a little bit intimidated. She may have not ever reached out to me. So I'm so thankful that God dropped that in my lap and I saw her post, and it only took me one post. Here's another take-home message from Erin in my story is that she followed up with me a lot of times in 6 or 7 days until I joined, because I was a mom of 4 boys. I'm a blue personality. I would see a squirrel and I was totally distracted. So I knew I wanted to do it. I knew it was legit. I knew I could pronounce the ingredients. I knew it was safe for me while I was breastfeeding. I just didn't take the time to do that because it seemed really hard, which is funny now that I run an online business. That Dustin every day says, how is it that you run an online business? He still teases me. It's okay. I'll take ridicule all day, every day. So she had to follow up with me, guys, a lot. And if she hadn't, and not in a bad way, she was like, hey, just checking in. Do you want help placing your order? I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'll get to it. And then bye. And I'd hang up. And so poor Erin was probably like, today, Junior, now being on the other side of that, I get it. But I didn't get it at the time. So just know that follow-up is important. Reaching out to people you're scared of is important. Prejudging is important. You cannot prejudge because you don't know who needs Plexus, and I needed it so bad. So I'm going to stop talking because I want to now introduce you to my sponsor, Miss Erin Kane, and she's going to tell you how she came to be with Plexus. So I will mute myself and take it away, Miss E.
Am I good? Okay. Sorry. I'm having trouble today. Today's not a great day. My name is Erin Kane. I'm also a Sapphire ambassador. Again, largely due to everyone here. I couldn't love this team more. I met my sponsor. The other thing I want to say real quick about Brooke was that I thought when she first called me, she was trying to talk me out of doing Plexus and what I was doing. And so I was like, you're kind of mean right now. But she was just wanting to know if this was going to work for her. So anyway, it took me a minute to make think, oh, you want to know if it's going to work for you. You don't really think I'm a complete moron. I thought you thought I was. So anyway, I met my sponsor, Megan Greiner. She is now, when I was 15 years old, we were both 15 years old, at a Christian family guest ranch in Estes Park, Colorado called Wind River Ranch. our families were both, it was my first time ever to go to Colorado, to leave the East Coast and vacation somewhere other than the beach. So we were out there. We were both guests at this ranch, and we both came back the next summer to work there. And I ended up working many more summers and actually met my husband out there. And so, we connected on Facebook as soon as, that became a thing, because this was still like pre-Facebook when we met and everything. And I kind of followed her life. I knew that she graduated from Texas A&M, and, we kind of kept in touch here and there. I think we saw each other at a reunion. And so, I was kind of following, she became a teacher, and she eventually got married, and I knew that she was struggling with infertility. I'd seen her post about that a couple of times. And so then all of a sudden these Plexus posts start popping up, and I was like, oh, Megan, what are you doing? Why are you doing this stuff? And I saw one post after another, and I knew that she was, struggling with infertility in the back of my mind, and that was hormone related. And, I was a medical assistant, so I had a little bit of a clue as to, kind of what things affected what. I was, not as smart as, like Wes and Brooke and some of those people, but I knew that those connections were there. And so, I'm following this along, and I actually unfollowed her for a little while because I kind of did a little bit of research into a couple of the ingredients, and I knew that they were going to try to put me on metformin for some different things. And, so I knew that affected blood sugar. And then I knew that Slim, what I read, was going to affect my blood sugar, but this seemed natural, and this stuff was definitely not natural. And I knew I didn't want to be on that. And, I'm not a super smart cookie, but I was trying to connect those dots and do that sort of thing. And so I was like, dadgummit, I really do need this stuff. That kind of sucks because it's like crazy expensive and I've got no money. We had like, this much allotted for, really the only flexible part of the budget was groceries. And so it was like Plexus or food. Well, food won at that point in time. And so I actually unfollowed Megan for a little while, or I think it was hide at that point in Facebook. Because I didn't want to keep being confronted with this stuff that I knew that I needed, but I knew that I couldn't have. So, as time went by, and, my stuff obviously wasn't getting better because I was pouring soda down my throat, and I was, eating garbage, and, just continuing to do the same old. And of course, nothing changed or nothing got better. So, I refollowed her because I was like, oh, where's this stuff? Maybe there's some way that I can make it work. And I kind of was creeping on her posts a little bit, kind of scrolling back to see what I had missed. And I noticed, so she's like making money. Like she just bought running shoes with her Plexus income was one post. And then I think she posted that they were able to pay for tires for their car. And I was like, I want to be able to do that. Like, that's pretty cool. So I messaged her about it. And, super fast, a year later, after you're following up with me again, follow-up is super important. Poor Megan pestered me, or not pestered. In my mind at the time it was pestering, but it's obviously not pestering now. She knew that I needed it. She knew I needed it. And so she kept following up and sending me testimonies, and I was reading them, and I was like, dadgummit, I really do need this stuff. It's definitely going to work for me. How can I make it work? And so after a lot of very painful conversation, I'm sure for poor Megan, trying to reassure me that I could do this, I joined and promptly posted right away because I knew that it worked for her. And based on what I read, I knew it was going to work for me. And so I just shared, the people that I knew, their testimonies. I shared, because I didn't have a testimony of my own yet, but I just shared theirs. I went off of, I trusted what my friends were experiencing, and I shared that, and never did end up paying for products because I made money, and God was really good to me that way. And so, yeah, that's how, I've known Megan for, at this point, more than half of my life, which is crazy. So Megan, is she... Just a second. Okay.
She's not on here yet, but do you feel comfortable sharing exactly how you two got started, or about that part of the journey?
How we got started?
Like how she helped you get started? Like, I know you alluded to the fact that it was Plexus and groceries, but I know a lot of these people have heard that story, but not everybody has.
Yeah. So, She, I asked her and she was really open with me about what she was making. And I was like, okay, if Megan can do this, I can do this. And I think at that point she was making like she said, $800 a month. And I was like, that's freaking incredible. Like that would change everything for me. And so I was like, what do I need to do specifically? I need like very specific plan and guidance here. And she's like, you post and you share and you reach out to the people closest to you. So the 3 people who joined me first were my mom, my sister, and my cousin, all who are still ambassadors and loving their products and everything. So I did exactly what she said. I just followed her direction and I trusted her. I trusted the process. I didn't try to do anything crazy or different. She told me what would work. I saw it working for her. So I trusted her and I did those things. And I basically still do those things, those same exact things. I reach out. I try to share with anybody who will listen. And I try to teach the people who join me to do the same thing. And, I went from, silver. I went silver in 2 weeks, I think, at that point. To here now at Sapphire, it's the same process. I mean, a little bigger scale, but same idea. Was that what you wanted, Brooke?
Yeah. And then I know Erin shared this, and this is something that not all of us do. Like she shared before she had a testimony. Like she shared before. Did you share before your products came in?
I shared like a minute and a half after I hit join.
So that's what we tell people to do. And I can tell you I didn't do that. And if I could go back, that I would have. But she actually shared before her products ever showed up at her doorstep. So she shared the stories and the testimonies that she knew worked because she trusted these people. And so it was funny what she said kind of drew her to the business, because I'll share with you what drew me to the business. I mean, because I told Erin, I didn't talk too long because we're waiting on Megan, and I'll allude more on mine. But because Megan's here. Okay, so we'll punt to her for a minute. But the one thing that interested me was I remember seeing the back of Erin's vehicle, and she was like, "Thanks, Plexus," and hashtag "Thanks, Plexus," and took a picture of her groceries. And I thought, I want free groceries. Like, seriously? You got free groceries? And I was sitting there. I mean, call it what it is. It's jealousy. And so I wanted free groceries. And I'm like, I can do that too. That was what got me. So you never know. And I didn't. Hey, Cash says hi. But you never know. Like, I was the breadwinner of our family. We weren't hurting financially, but everybody wants free groceries. So you have to share, even very humbly, what Plexus does for you on the business side of it, because you never know who that's going to speak to.
Yeah, and it's like I said, the thing, it was probably a silly little post that Megan did that caught my eye. It was, Megan, I don't remember if it was like running shoes or tires for your car, both of them at the same time. You posted something about buying those things. I was like, I want running shoes. Like, my running shoes, they're so old and I run all the time. I want new shoes. And it was one of those things like, well, she can do it, then I can do it. So guys, here, Megan, champion. She's still champ in my mind. I call her champ. But Megan Griner is here. She's the gal that I joined, and take it away.
All right. Well, hey guys. So I'm going to make my story pretty quick. I've been with Plexus for a little over 4 years now. I joined in January of 2014. And I am someone who looked healthy on paper. I was a healthy weight. I wore size 2 clothes. I was not on any medications. My blood work was always normal. I ate decently well. I was fairly active. So, looking at me on paper, I looked good. I looked healthy. But what paper didn't show was that my husband and I had been trying for 2 years to start a family, and we were not successful. And so Sara, who you'll see in a few minutes, she posting about Plexus, and I thought it was about weight loss, so I ignored it. And then she was posting about gut health, and I thought it was for people who couldn't poop regularly, and I ignored it. And then she posted a story about a woman who got pregnant, and I was like, okay, that's the kind of story that I can relate to. And so, guys, you never know what story you share is going to relate to somebody. So that's what did it for me. That's what caused me to reach out to her. Started on product. And at the time I was a first grade teacher and was pretty heavily dependent on dark chocolate and sweet tea and my couch. I would come home every day after school and I'd lay on the couch until it was time to go to bed. And I was pretty much worthless. I didn't have any kids at the time, but my house was a wreck. Weeds were taking over the yard and I never walked my dog. And so when I started taking Plexus, all of that started to change. And the energy, I remember just feeling like I could sit and complete one task before like getting up and moving around and doing something else was huge. Dark chocolate and sweet tea cravings were greatly diminished. My skin started clearing up. I dealt with adult acne for years. I did Accutane after college. It's pretty humiliating when you have first graders say, "What's that on your nose?" And so, being an adult and having to deal with that was really, really frustrating. But one of the biggest things that I saw health-wise were my cycles. They had always been really irregular, 28 days to 36 days to 41 to 33. And from the month that I started Plexus, and I realize that this is not everybody's testimony, but for me, the month that I started Plexus, they were always 30 or 31 days. So 6 months later, when day 32 came around, I took that pregnancy test and it was positive. So 6 months on product is what it took for us to get pregnant. I do believe that Plexus was a huge, huge, huge part of that, but I also believe that the opportunity was a huge part of that. I believe that the Lord knew that I needed that opportunity because it was our dream for me to stay home. And as a teacher and my husband's a tax accountant, those are both stable, safe jobs, but it wasn't enough to allow me to be able to stay home full time. And when my son was born, he had Down syndrome. And so that meant therapies and extra doctor's visits. And so the Lord really knew that I needed this opportunity to be able to stay home, not only to help provide, but to be able to provide that time, to be able to have that freedom to be with him and not worry about, who's going to cover my class and how many sick days do I have left. So fast forward, almost a year after my son was born, my husband got let go unexpectedly. Like I said, he's a tax accountant, super safe job. Everybody needs their taxes done, but he works for an oil and gas company. And we live down here in Houston and the economy got hit. And so we were victims of that. So he was unemployed for 2 months. During that time, I promoted to Emerald. And so my paychecks were what got us through, earned that car, earned that trip to Hawaii. And it is amazing to see that burden lifted off of his shoulders and knowing that we were going to be okay. And I did not know, 2.5 years before that we were going to be in that situation, but the Lord did. And so he gave me that opportunity. This incredible team that you guys have built has done so much for our family. And so, it's been incredible to see just the Lord provide in ways that I didn't expect. Y'all, I'm an introvert. I live in sweatpants. I prefer to stay home on Friday nights and clean. And if I can do it, I promise you guys can do it. So that's a little bit about my story. Thanks for taking time to hear about it. And I hope it encouraged some of you guys. Oh, I guess I'm supposed to punt. So up next is my upline, Sara Roten. I met her because her son, Micah, was in my first grade class. So that is how we connected. We became Facebook friends when the school year ended, and that's how I got started. So Sara, you are up.
Hey guys, I hope y'all are having an awesome night. First of all, Brooke, thank you so much for putting this together and giving me an opportunity to be on here. I'm excited to share a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. As Megan said, my name's Sara. I'm a Sapphire, and I have been with Plexus for 4.5 years. I joined in December, 4.5 years ago, whatever year that was. I'm sorry, I'm a little brain dead. I've been packing all day. And I had seen my sister, Andrea, who is our Diamond upline, posting about stuff, and I was scrolling through. It was about weight loss. I didn't really need anything about that. So I just kept scrolling past, looking for pictures of my niece and nephews. And she started posting about her daughter, Ella, who has cerebral palsy and has a hard time going to the bathroom. I have struggled with GI issues my entire life. I've been on prescription meds. I've tried everything out there. I've gone from $10 probiotics to $250 probiotics at one point, which I wasn't even sure how to manage that. I've had procedure after procedure trying to figure out what was going on, and just kind of just retired to the fact that this was just the way I was going to live my life. I was living at the time, I had done vegan diets, I had done, you name it, I had done the diet, but I had been vegan for a while and seen a little bit of improvement, but was still struggling a lot. So I had resorted back to my typical GI issue diet, which was applesauce, crackers, and ginger ale. That was what I lived on. I was super underweight, obviously, because I was getting no nutrition. I actually love healthy food. I absolutely love pretty much all vegetables, fruits. I mean, you name it, I love it. I crave those things, but I couldn't eat them any more than I could eat Mexican or barbecue or anything else. And I live in Texas, so Mexican is real big here. But I just couldn't eat anything. I started to get where I would not go out in public anymore, because I knew the minute I got out in public, my GI system was going to fail me, and I was going to have to find the closest bathroom, and I might be in there for a while, and I might not want anybody knowing it was me that came out. So long story short, I was like, look, if she's giving it to Ella, it must be good. It must be safe. I'm willing to go for it. It was about 11 o'clock at night. My sister's an early bird. She was long asleep. Wasn't going to ask her questions, but she had posted somewhere her site. So I went to it, scrolled through. Being the blue that I am, didn't really care about question, was just like, hey, why not? I had done every network marketing company you could pretty much name. I had tried. I had a whole lot of dishes, a whole lot of cookware, bags, I mean, you name it, makeups, all kinds of stuff. I had all that, but I'd never made money. So I was like, well, I'll just try it. Andrea and I have never actually done one together. So I thought, okay, I'll try it and I'll call her tomorrow. Maybe we'll do something with it. So the next day she called me and was like, oh my gosh, you're my first ambassador. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but is that cool? She's like, yeah, I made money. I was like, cool. What do we do? How do we make more? Like, I got anything out of it. And she and I talked to Roz, kind of found out a little bit about it. My first 72 hours, I went silver. Didn't really ask my family to sign up. I kind of told them, hey, give me your credit card. I know your social. Let's get you signed up. You need this too. So I signed up my mom and dad, and then I signed up two of my close friends, and I signed up my ex-husband, who was my husband at the time, which, I mean, nobody complained, so I figured it was okay. And I went silver, and it was kind of one of those where I remember looking back now how I knew nothing about Plexus. I didn't even know there was a pink drink, to be perfectly honest with you, until about 2 weeks after I joined. I did not know we had a pink drink. I was all about the probiotic. I just bought the package because I was signing up. So I talked to Andrea off and on. I was 3 weeks into the business before I ever tried a single one of our products. And actually, for those who don't know, Celeste Wynn, the Double Diamond, her sister, in-law's sister, lives here near me. Her name's Wendy. And Wendy came and brought me some products to try 3 weeks later, because I was like, I need something. Like, I don't know anything. Like, I don't even know if I can take these things. So I started taking them. I had such severe GI issues that 2 days into ProBio 5, game changer. I was hooked to these products. I'm a huge gut health advocate, so I was all about it. So it kind of ties into the business side of it. So I called my sister and was like, look, I'm silver. How do we go senior ruby? I remember I messaged Roz and was like, how do I go fast start senior ruby? She's like, slow your roll, cowgirl. And so she kind of was helping me. So I was really close to gold by the end of my first 30 days. The next month I went gold, skipped a month, senior gold, skipped a month. I went ruby at convention. My very first convention, I went ruby the day convention started. I was so excited. My sister was with me. And so I was stoked. I had amazing team. Megan had joined my team, which, by the way, at the time, Megan was not interested in the business. Wanted nothing to do with the business. And so I was like, okay, we're going to keep this going. I had a lot of level 1. So I was like, okay, this is going to work out. I came home from convention, and 2 weeks later was starting the process of a very expensive, nasty divorce. It was a really hard time in my life. I completely shut down in life. This is part of my testimony, so I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys. I shut down totally. I was not on social media. I did not leave my house aside of having to take my kids to or from somewhere. I completely withdrew from life. My sister didn't hear from me. My mom only heard from me because she lived with me, but I pretty much stayed in my room away from her. I wanted nothing to do with life. I was really traumatized by the situation, and I filed for the divorce. So it was my decision. But there was so much traumatic stuff going on that I just shut down, and I went MIA pretty much on my team, my customers, my family, anyone in life, even honestly my kids. I was checked out as a mom for about 3 months. I called my sister bawling, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Andrea, I'm doing my best. I went to Dallas, saw her, and just broke down to her. And she just held me, and we cried, and I'm going to get emotional talking about it. It's kind of a rough day for me anyway. But I got emotional, and I just broke down, and she's like, Sara, we can do this. So I came back. I was working 2 part-time jobs and my Plexus business as a Ruby. And I called her again. I was like, Andrea, every other month, it's my light or my water is turned off. My bills. It was like kind of a running joke in the house at that point. My kids were like, is it going to be the water? Is it going to be the gas? What's going to get turned off? And there were months, honestly, that we had to go without because I couldn't do it. And in fact, my sister ended up saying, okay, Sara, let's get you to Senior Ruby and let's get you to Emerald. And I was like, okay, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. I was in desperate mode. I was desperate for the products, but I was desperate for the business. And I will tell you, I had stocked up on products, so I had some, but I had to be very, very cautious in how I used them. I was having to take 1 ProBio a day, which is my lifesaver, so I needed it. But I couldn't take a lot of the products. I had to find customers to keep me qualified. That was my life at that point. Okay, so fast forward a little bit. I start busting hiney, and I come back. Now, let me tell you guys, to this day, that has been 4 years, okay? To this day, those relationships are still hurt, and those relationships are still a little bit tainted because of what I did. That's why I am so passionate about keeping those relationships going, being consistent, because you take those 2 and 3 months off because you're going through life things. We all go through life things. I'm telling you, it is very hard to come back from. I am one of many that have done it, but it's not an easy process. If I had stuck with it through that 3 months and just put my game face on, I probably would be a diamond at this point because I wouldn't have lost as many ambassadors and customers as I have. So I've been rebuilding those relationships. I ended up going Senior Ruby shortly after that, and then I hit Emerald actually in November, right after our back office changed. The next month I went Emerald, and I was super excited about it. And let me tell you guys the kind of cool part of my story with this. I did not have a vehicle after my divorce. My ex-husband took my vehicle. He took our house. I literally left with the clothes that we had, very little furniture, and 2 little people, and my mom. That's all I had. That's all I got from the divorce. And so when I moved out, I moved into ghetto. And when I talk about, some of you guys have heard my story about living in the ghetto. When I say ghetto, I mean legit. My kids can't go outside and play because there were gunshots going off. There was drug deals going off and on my street. Like, it was extremely dangerous, but I had no choice. It was the only thing I could afford on my own. Fast forward a little bit, getting closer to Sapphire, I was able to move out of that neighborhood and move my kids into the home that we're in now. And we've been leasing here for 2 years. And I'm going to tell you guys the coolest part of this story is I am literally packing my house right now. I'm purchasing my very first home on my own next week. And I'm literally getting goosebumps because I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be emotional. It's been a really long week. But I could not even afford to feed my kids or keep the lights on or give them running water when I was a Ruby. And I had no child support. I had nothing. And now, because of this amazing business and sharing and the growth of this team and the blessings of all the people on this team, from my level 1s to my level 20s, wherever they are, because of the growth of this team, I'm able to stay at home with my kids and be active in their lives and still provide for them. And the house it's not the material, it's the accomplishment. It's the fact that you can do it. I am very much like Erin and Megan. I could stay home every night. I don't need to go out. When I do go to things, I love to socialize and I'm super blue, but I really would just soon be home in my pajamas all day long. And I love to be with my kids. I just wanted to spend all my time with them because I lost so much time during that horrible time in my life. I lost so much with them. I'm trying to gain it back. So to be a stay-at-home mom and be able to do that is incredible. I've also, since becoming a Jewel, was able to go through school and become a certified holistic health coach, which has been huge for me, more for educational reasons, but it's been huge for me to really learn a lot more about the lifestyle change that comes with it. So I'm sorry, y'all, I'm so emotional. I literally have been dealing with this house all day. So it's kind of setting in that this is real. And I mean, I'm so overwhelmed. I posted on our team page, or my team page, that this last paycheck was the largest paycheck I've ever received in the history of my business with Plexus. And the blessing to it was that I just sat there and thought, I never in a million years thought I would be in this place. I was the person who was like, I'll never be a Jewel. Yes, my sister will. She's super social. She has like 1,000 friends. She has to be friends with everybody. If you don't like her, she'll make you like her. Like, that's her life. I'm not that person. I'm not super social. I don't put myself out there. I'm very introverted in that way. Most people don't know that about me because I'm super social in settings, but I don't really like it. It's totally out of my comfort zone. But to see that someone like me, so simple, with a very small, very close group of girlfriends, I have about 5 girlfriends that I talk to on a consistent basis, one of them on this call. Outside of them, I don't really socialize much with adults because I keep my circles so tight knit. And so I sit there and I'm like, if I can do that, God, all these people on this team can do it. And so I'm not a crier either, but it's just overwhelming when you see that it can be done. It's not about what you're earning. It's about the fact you're earning it. I would never in a million years thought I could have gone to Hawaii, let alone take my kids with me. Like, how many kids have really been to Hawaii at these young elementary school ages? And our kids are able to go and experience that with us. And that was a deal when I was pushing for Emerald. I told my kids, if I hit it, we're all going. And so I took them, and so it's just been a huge blessing, huge, huge blessing. And I am utterly grateful for every single one of you on this team. Without, I will say this 1,000 times over, without this team, my entire team on every leg, my story wouldn't be possible. That's the way this business is such a blessing, is without each other, nobody can be where they're at. And I'm so incredibly blessed by the friendships, because Brooke, Erin, Megan, I mean, the names are countless of the friendships that I've made through this business, and that in itself is priceless to me. So I hope that, that encourages you guys somehow along the way, that y'all can gain some encouragement, that if a single mom of 2 kids that has been through a nightmare and fell off the planet for a few months, anybody can do it. There's always, if you haven't been active and you want to come back, if I can do it, trust me, you can.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, this is so good. I think it's really important to know where we come from. I mean, I consider you guys family. So this is our Plexus family. And it's important to know that, I joined Erin, which I didn't tell that part of my story, who I ran track with her husband in college. So I ran into Erin because I was working in a clinic and I saw Ryan Kane on a chart. And I'm like, I know Ryan Kane. And they're like, well, his wife works here. And so we met, and, that kind of formed a friendship, which later led to Plexus, which I know was God opening that door. And that she, met Megan somewhere way before Facebook existed. And that was that door opened, and that Megan taught Sara's kiddo, and that was that door opened. And that Ella with cerebral palsy needed products, and that opened the door for Andrea. And Andrea worked for Roz, I believe, at some sort of a publishing, marketing, some sort of something, right? Advertising agency. And that's how they knew each other. And Roz and Celeste were best friends. And Celeste is the double diamond in our company. I think these stories are so important. And if you look at that lineage and look at that line of women, there's no 2 that are remotely the same. You guys, nobody is the same. Erin and I could not be more different. Megan and I could not be more different. Sara and I could not be more different. Andrea and I are a little bit alike. We're both blues who see a squirrel and we're gone. And we like to talk a lot, but we're still very different people. So I just love it that everybody can do this. It doesn't matter where you come from. And it just goes to show that that one person you haven't reached out to, maybe you knew them before Facebook existed. Maybe you're the person that needs to share with them. And maybe you don't know. Like Megan didn't know she needed that financial need until it met her need when Paul lost his job. Like what an incredible testimony. Erin didn't share this, but her husband's working in my backyard for King Country Builders because he retired because she's a Sapphire mama and he can retire from his job and work on her. Now she's crying. I'm going to cry too. Like these stories are possible because someone shared with them. Someone shared. So be bold. I just talked to a gal tonight and I got home 4 minutes before this call started I was talking to her and she needs the financial opportunity and she needs the health. And I want to make that happen for her. So you don't know who needs our story. We have community, we have health, we have financial opportunities that are beyond our wildest dreams. And I have said before, and I'll say it again, I didn't know that I knew I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I had never voiced that desire because it was never going to be possible. I love my husband, the teacher that he is with his small little salary. No offense to any teachers out there. I was the breadwinner. It was never going to happen. Plexus opened that door for us and I get to be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm proud to say I'm going to go back and work a day here and there because I want to. Like I like my stethoscope. I like diagnosing people. I like solving problems, but it's because I choose to. I don't have to. I choose to do that because I want to be part of that community still here and there and do both things because I can around my Plexus schedule. So just know, guys, that don't prejudge. You have no idea who needs this. Erin didn't know I needed Plexus. She didn't know. She didn't know how much I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. There's no way she knew. I'm not sure I knew. So don't prejudge. Someone out there needs to hear your story. So share. And like Erin, she shared a minute and a half after she joined. Like, why not? There's enough belief here. You can borrow some of ours. So I guess Megan and Erin are still on. I know Sara had to hop off because she's moving. I know we've gone over 30 minutes, so I always try to keep them a little bit short. I say that and we talk forever. If you guys have any questions, since they're both on here and they don't mind, go ahead and shoot. And if you don't, that's okay. We'll let you guys go. But I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask them if there's some on your heart. I never make it through a call without crying, ever, ever. Sorry, guys. Anybody? There's a lot of people on tonight. This is so fun. I say this every week, but let's just hold this next one in my living room. So everybody plan your road trips. My house next week. Okay, guys. Well, if everybody is good, then I'm going to unmute you all just because I think it's fun and it gets really loud. And then everybody can
Somebody asked Megan a question in the chat.
Okay.
So I'll have to find it. We can't use the word fertility, but I do talk about how we wanted a family and I wanted to get my body healthy. That's kind of the way that I work around that. I wanted to get my body healthy for pregnancy. So I will find it and then I can send it to Brooke. I might have to dig for a little bit, but I'll find it and I'll get it to her and she'll get it to you.
We need to share those anyway. I mean, consistently because people forget. I mean, I feel like I've shared it so many times. And every time I share it, I say something different, even 3 years in. So it's just kind of crazy. I know I did one for Megan Lafayette. She had a launch party tonight. And when I shared, or when somebody, Crystal on her team did, and I was like, golly, I think I said stuff in there I've never said before. How is that possible? But you just never know. I think sometimes God knows what that group needs to hear. So just comes out. Okay, guys. Yeah, Megan, that's why I agree. I wanted everybody to be a part of it. I want people to know where we come from. It's important to me. And yes, our testimonies do change, Candy. They definitely change. Okay, let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Hang on one second. I really just think it's fun. If I unmute everybody. How do I do that? Okay. Everybody's unmuted, so y'all can say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan and Erin. Thank you, Sarah. She already left.